right, so I said I would make my video, and it's now Sunday and it's time to do so. So my found objects are these washers. I found them basically out in our driveway. They were on the floor next to my car. There were 3 of them. And what I've done with this one here is I've just wrapped it with some of my hand-dyed wool. And that's what I'm going to do with all 3. And then I want to turn these into some kind of little flowers. I'm inspired by something Rach did for another slow stitch project that she followed along with online, where she did this. She made some flowers out of washers. I'd forgotten she'd done it. I sort of was thinking if that's what I wanted to do, and then Rachel's like, oh, I did that, and then I'd totally forgotten that she had done that. So I am inspired. I've had a look at Rachel's and I really like what she did. So what I've done is I've threaded up on a chunky needle just some wool. Okay, this is just random wool, and I'm just holding the tail on the back, and I'm actually going to wrap. This wool's quite chunky. I'm actually going to wrap and go over it to hold it in place. Okay, so it's just, you could do it without the needle, but it's just easier to hold it in place with the needle. So once you've got that tail held down, you don't need to hold it anymore. So this is just a wool I got from the Crafty Op shop, from the sewing basket, and it's got different thicknesses. And so I really like how it looks. It was literally just in a scrap basket where I could fill a bag. I think it was for like $1. Okay, so you just keep wrapping, and I'm thinking you can wrap further to fill in the middle, like that one I didn't, but I'm thinking with one of them I will. I might try it with this one. Okay, so this is going to take me a little while. Okay, so I'll just show you. Focus. Okay, can you see front and back? Just pulling the wool through each time and wrapping. And you know, if you get little gaps, it's okay, because you can keep coming around and filling them in. All right, so I'll pop off the camera while I finish wrapping this one, and then I'll come back and show you what I'm going to wrap that one in. Back in a sec. All right, so that one's actually fully filled in, and I got my string over on the back. So what I do on the back is I just thread it under some of the other fibres. And you just pull it through. And then I snip it off. Okay, so that's a fully wrapped washer. All right, so the last one. Just zoom you in a little bit. Okay, so with the last one, I'm just unthreading this wool. What I'm using is this. It's a hand-dyed silk from Steph Francis. They come in bundles of different types of fibres, and I've pulled out this fibre, which is a really soft silk. So it's kind of got my red tones, got sort of autumny tones. So I'm going to do the exact same thing. Just wrap the washer with the silk. So just holding the tail on the back. Just coming over the back of that tail a couple of times and it should be nice and secure. Yep. It's so soft, this fibre, because it's got the silk in it. I think it's, I can't remember which bundles they are, but they're mixed fibres, so you've got different types of textures. You've got perle cotton, some chenille, this chunky silk, a thinner silk, like a thinner perle, and a thicker one. There's just different types of fibres, which is a good way to get a mix for this kind of project. This one here, I'm just keeping it a little bit neater. Doesn't take too long to wrap them. I was thinking I could even look in my toolbox. I know I've got some other washes, and you could even add some different sizes in. Sorry. Almost done. Okay, I've just got to decide if I'm going to do a single time around or if I'll keep going. I'll just do one more and I'll have a look at it. I like that. There's a couple of gaps there. I could just play around with the fibres a little bit, try and shift them. Cover up the gaps. I think I'm going to leave this one at a single. So just come under. Okay. You won't see it on the back and it will hold. I like that. Cute. Okay, so now I've got to stitch them down. So I'm just going to think about how I'm going to do that for a minute and I'll come back and show you. Okay, so I'm going to start with this one. I'm just going to bring my needle through. I'm using a chunky perle. It's perle number 5 in kind of a goldy mustard colour. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to try something. It's hard to get through there. It's quite full with stuff. What I'm going to do is just do some stitches over it. So I'm zoom out, so I'm just zooming out a little bit more so I don't accidentally get myself off screen. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll go opposite sides first just to hold it down. Sorry, I know I'm blocking what's going on. It's just hard because it's trying to get up through that middle. Okay, so that way. And this way. Okay, so I've done 4, and then I'm going to put maybe 2 more in between each quarter or each quadrant if I can get. I'm using a milliner's needle because it is really hard to get it through. Actually, I might 2 would look good, but I think I'm going to do 1 because I don't think I'm going to be able to keep getting this needle through. It's getting really solid in there, full of threads and fibers. Okay, I'm going to finish these last 2. I'll turn the camera off and I'll come back and show you in a sec. I know I keep blocking it on camera, so it's hard for you to see. Just show you. Don't know if you can see that. 1 more there and 1 more through there. I'll be back in a sec. All right, so this one's down and I stitched a little button in the middle as well. Cute little like button from a like for a doll's jumper or cardigan or that kind of thing. I've drawn a couple of leaves which I'm going to stitch in with some wool, and now what I'm doing with this one is I'm securing it down by doing a bullion stitch over top. That one went a bit wonky, but I'm just going to show you how I do it. So I am using, let me just find it, where did I put it? Don't know. It's a variegated, I had it next to me a minute ago, it's gone. I had a variegated colour Steph Francis thread, which has some red, some mustardy kind of colour, a bit of green, and then it goes into some navy. Oh, here it is. It was under my cloth. So another Steph Francis one. This one's a Perle. I think it's a number 8. So I liked the colours. And I'm going to show you how I do it. So you come up, keep myself on screen here. I've tried to zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. Should I go a little bit closer? It's a bit risky going that close, but we'll see. So you come up just in the middle, and to do a bullion knot, I'm using a milliner's needle, I come up and then I go through on the other side where I want my stitch to be, so it'll come across there, and back up in the middle. I can come on the same hole or just next to it, doesn't really matter. Okay, so my needle's there, and then I wrap. Okay, so on these ones I wrap 16 times. Either way, you can go that way, it doesn't matter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. and I slide them down my needle, just trying to make sure that they look pretty even. Okay, pretty even just there. And then what I do is I hold it carefully with my finger to keep it in place, and I pull my needle through. So I'm just pulling it through till all this red comes through. Just pull it through. Just give it a little yank. Slightly tighten it up, and then I basically just go in to where my other hole was. Okay, now you've got a bullion. Mine are always a little bit wonky. It's a bit wonky there. That one got a bit wonky there. That one's pretty good. That one's okay. So I'll show you again. Just come up through the middle. Okay, and then I probably want it about there. So down through the fabric where I want it to end up, and up through the middle again, and wrap 16 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. You might ask how I know how many to wrap. All I do is when I do my first stitch, I wrap and then test how many stitches I think I'm going to need to come over the top. So I initially did about 10, and I'm like, no, that's not quite long enough. So I did another 6, and then we go down through. Okay. All right, so I'll just keep going until I've done enough. I'm just turning it around so it's easier for me. So I'm up through the middle. I'm going to place it about here. Back up through the middle 16 times. Whoops, that's 10. It's easy to pull through because of that milliner's needle. Give a little yank, try and even it out a bit, tighten it up. And that's looking pretty good. Okay, over again. Slide them down, trying to make sure my threads are pretty even. Now Molly, if you watch tonight, I just want to say thank you so much for my buttons. I'm going to show you in a minute. Molly, who's one of our lovely people doing the project, had these beautiful white buttons that she'd stitched into her project, her grandmother's buttons. And I really love them, and I said they were really beautiful buttons, so she so generously sent me a bundle of buttons, and I just got them this afternoon, Molly. I've just got home and they're in the mailbox, so I'm going to show everyone in a minute what you sent me. They are absolutely divine, and I'm going to find a spot to put them because I love buttons. You can see there's lots of buttons on my project. So Molly, your buttons are going to be on my project, which I'm excited about. How many to do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay. Well, it looks like a bit of a fat worm. And I'll do one more in the middle. That is a really fat worm at the beginning. That does happen. I'm definitely not perfect at bullion knots. I like doing them. I'm not perfect. I don't always get them really even. I probably could if I concentrated a bit more and tried a bit harder. But yeah, I don't mind them being a bit imperfect. Isn't that what slow stitching is? Or hand stitching is always a bit imperfect. One, two. Okay, here's my last one coming in. How cute does that look? It looks a little bit like, I don't know what they're called, but they're kind of like little sea urchin things, the inside shell that you get, you know, when the spikes are off. Looks a little bit like the top of a sea urchin. And look, it makes a nice flower pattern on the back too, but we're not going to see the back. All right, so 2 are on. I'm going to add one more. My other one is over here. Now with this one, I'm going to stitch it down in a minute, but what I'm thinking of doing, I've got this really chunky chenille that I got at the Crafty Op Shop. It was in the wool section. It's too thick. It's too thick for me to pull through the fabric or to put in a needle. What I was thinking of doing was couching it around the outside and actually pulling it tight. So I'm going to try and get a bit of a bubble effect. But I'm going to stitch this on first. And what I was thinking of stitching it on with was my Steph Francis threads. So these were the coloured ones I showed you. Now in here, let me pull them out. There is a thin one, this one, thin perlé. That looks like maybe a number 3. It's quite thin. Where are my scissors? I need to get some thin perlé. Okay, don't need my big milliner's net. I'll use a smaller one. What I'm going to try and do is like colour match it. So as I'm stitching it down, I'm going to try and blend it in a bit. We'll see. It might not, it might be a bit different, but it doesn't matter. It's the same colours. So all I'm going to do is basically like couch this down around the outside. So I've kind of got these beigey bits. There's quite a few beigey bits. I don't think it's going to colour match in. Doesn't matter. I mean, what I could do if I don't want to see it, I could try and go under the other thread, run it under, but I'm not going to fuss about it. So just stitching it down similar to what I did my first one. It's too much beige for me to be able to colour match. It's not changing colours at the right time. So I'll just go with how it is. What I might even do is with the chenille, I was going to match the colour and just do a navy on the navy, but maybe we'll make a little bit of a feature of it and use this variegated thread. All right, there we go. So that's stitched down. All right, my little bit of chenille. So to couch, I'm going to come right next to my little covered washi, my washer. Washer. Just come over it. I might come over it twice just to make sure it's solidly in place. Then what you do is you just come up a little bit ahead. This is where I'm showing you that I want to get this kind of bubble effect. It's a little bit ahead. I'll do a few stitches and then you'll see. Not working exactly how I thought. I thought it'd pull in more, but it's just because the chenille's so fluffy. Let's just trim off the chenille. It's going to come to about there. I can cut it shorter if I need to. I'm just going to come and overlap it just a little bit at the end. Just to there. Okay, and then I'll cut off the little tail. That's kind of cool. You can't even see where it started. It just kind of blends in a bit. Might try another stitch. See if I can get just a little bit more of the bumpy effect that I was after. I'm just working out where the stitch is. It's kind of here. I'm amazed I'm staying on screen because I'm really zoomed in. I think that's starting to work now. I kind of want it to look a bit like a flower. Can you see now they're a bit more defined, almost like a petal? That's kind of what I was going for when I was thinking of a bubbly effect. And I might just do one more there and I think we're done. Back to the beginning. Okay, it worked really well there, not so well there. I wonder if we can do one more stitch to bring that in just a little bit more. Let's try. There we go. We could probably trim the hairs a little bit to shape it, but it doesn't matter. We'll see. Okay, finishing it off on the back. All right, so let's continue embellishing. So there's my 3. And what I wanted to do was to use some of these. I'm thinking I might bead the center of this one. All right, so where's a beading needle? I think that one's not a beading needle, but I think it will fit through. Let's just put a few down. Okay. All right, so I will bead with my, just my, it would look better is the gold thread. And try the gold thread. As long as I can get this through the needle. I do have some other metallics. If this one doesn't work, I could probably find a thinner one. Let's give this a go first. It's so hard to thread this metallic because it splits and I've got a really small eye on this. One person taught me a trick and I'll try it. I don't think it's going to work though because I think it'll be too thick, and I think I've shown you this before. You fold it over your needle. No, that is not going to get through. Let me try a bigger eye. I just have to see if it will, the beads will go through it. I'm feeling like they won't. No, the eye is too big. That one's fine. I'm not going to go the gold thread. It's not going to get through. I'll go back to my normal, my usual silk. My silk that I use. This is going to be easier to thread. All right, so just beading. I'll start off with the beads will kind of go into the gap and then I'll build it up, so they'll come up. They're going to go down the bottom to begin with. So just coming through, pick up one of the beads and back down through the fabric just next to where my first stitch was. I'm not going to double stitch these to begin with. I normally do, but you're not going to see them because they're going to be underneath. So I'm just going to single stitch, and then I'll end up double stitching them when they come up on top, because when you double stitch they lay in a better position. I'm not double stitching now because it doesn't matter. It's time saving not to do it twice. Sorry, I unthreaded it. And of course I can't thread it now. Okay, I can't thread it. It's having trouble. I'll be back in a sec. I'll turn you off so you don't have to wait while I try and do this. Alright, so I have progressed quite a bit. Yes, I've stitched down all my, what are they, washes? I was trying to think what they were called, washes. With the embellishments, the beading in the middle. I think that's where I left off because I filmed that 2 days ago. And now it's Wednesday and I'm going to get my video up tonight. And I've done some leaf stitching. I played around with some different types of stitches. Mostly it's just satin stitch on the leaves, these leaves. And there's a little running stitch through the middle there and then just some satin stitch. So I'm just going to finish off these leaves just to show you what I did. So it was a running stitch. Oh, sorry, not running, back stitch. Back stitch for the stem. And then I'll just show you really simply how I make these, sew these, you know what I mean. Okay, so just come up to the point of where the leaf will be and I do a straight stitch right down to the base. They're not very big leaves, so it's okay to have your straight stitch that long. Okay, and then I just do slightly shorter. I did draw some little lines using my friction pen just to help me with a guide for the shape. Okay, and then, so it's just a thread caught there. Okay, got it. And then I do the same on the other side, just bring it a bit shorter. And into the hole, the middle hole, kind of brings it down into a V. You see how it's kind of a V there? And I just keep going, adding some extra stitches until I like the look of the shape. I'm thinking what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you the lovely buttons I was given. I was talking about them before. And I'm going to count them as found because I found them in my mailbox as a lovely gift. So I'm going to stitch on some of those gorgeous white buttons, which I'll show you. And then they're going to be my 2 found things. So the washes, which I decorated as flowers, and then I'm going to use the buttons which I found in my mailbox. Okay, so I've got 2 more leaves to finish off. Usually only takes about like the center stitch and then 2 or 3 on each side to fill it in enough that it looks okay. quite a soft wool, this one. Feels like it might have almost some silk in it. Don't know where I got this one. Can't remember, but it's a nice, lovely, soft, variegated green. There's a subtle variegation between sort of more of a green and more of a yellowy green. But it's lovely to feel. I'll just show you. Okay, I may add some more leaves in and some more of these stemmy kind of things. Build that up a bit more. We'll see. We'll see what I decide to do. Now I want to space. I'm going to show you these lovely buttons. I've put them in this container. So all these lovely white, they're made out of plastic, I think, but they're really cool. There's such variation in their designs. So I've got buttons all over my piece. I've got lots here. So good. They're just really different. And what I'm thinking of doing, hang on, I'm just getting the last couple out. I'm thinking of adding some of them as another found item. But what I would like to do, so let's have a look. Let's put these to the side. What I would like to do is just run some down here. Might move them out a bit. Now I am thinking if I would like to, love that one, love this one, if I would like to, I don't know if I want to run a piece of fabric under to give it a background. Look. So one's cute. Anyway, I'm going to save some of them for other stitching. So let me just move these away. These ones look good. Run them down there as another found item. Okay, but do I want to run a little bit of fabric? I don't want it to go too close to my flowers, and I don't want to cover up too much of my background. So maybe I will just leave them white on white. Okay, I was going to use the thread I used the other day. Just let me find it. It's in my box over here. I'm going to use this one, the Steph Francis one, so I get some nice variation of colour. Where is it? I've already got some threaded up. Here it is. No, that's not it. No, wrong one. Here it is, this one. Nope. I've got all these threads tangled. It's here, but I don't know. It's here, that's it. But it's not threaded onto a needle. So I do have it. Let's just find a nice needle to get this onto. I need one that's going to be thin enough to go through the buttonholes. All right. So I'm just threading and tying a knot in my needle. Let's just move these out to the side so they're not in the way. All right, so I'll do maybe 3 stitches so you can see the coloured thread. Actually, I think 2 will be enough. Can't remember what order I had them in, but it doesn't really matter. Down to my next one. Okay, button number 2. Button number 3. All right, stitch this one on. This one's got one of those little things at the back, so you won't see any colour on this one. It does have little holes in it. I could put some thread through, but I'm thinking I'm just going to stitch this down. I'm going to do 2 stitches. I want to be a bit floppy. Okay, next one. One and 2. Now, let's have a look. Start bringing them out. Is that going to look weird? You like that one? Let's have a look. Maybe that one. I've kind of come out a bit, haven't I? Sorry, come in too much. So I feel like maybe I'm going to leave those ones there, and I will add these ones somewhere else. So that's, I'm going to leave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect, uneven number. All right, I'm going to leave those ones there because if I put these here, they come out a bit and it kind of just looks weird. And that's not even going to fit. They get too clustered because it's kind of going out. So I'm going to leave those 5. Just keep my other ones for another spot. Finish off on the back. All right, so, whoops, here's another button. Put that one over. All right, so they are my found things. So sorry I didn't get a video done during the week. I actually did film part of this earlier, as you know, but I just didn't get it finished. So, so tonight it is. This is coming up. So got our found washes inside there and the buttons that I found in the mailbox. All right, thank you for watching, and we will see you next week for a new prompt. All right, see you soon. Bye.